people made that choice. The choice to go to sameness. Before my time, before the previous time, back and back and back. We relinquished color when we relinquished sunshine and did away with difference. We gained control of many things, but we had not let go of the others. That was an excerpt from The Giver, as you can see here, by Lois Lowry. And this is a book that takes you into a world that is set up to be perfect, which is also known as a utopian society. In this story, we're going to follow a 12-year-old boy whose name is Jonas as he navigates his way through the struggles of living in this perfect world. In this world, we see that pain and suffering are eliminated by making everyone equal and the same. People are assigned jobs based off of the skills that they show an aptitude for as they are observed as children, and they are assigned a partner in marriage based off of how well their personalities match. Families are limited to a limit of only 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl, no more and no less. The society has many more ways of maintaining harmony and keeping everyone in the community happy and the same. And when I say happy, it's in quotations, happy. And as you may notice, things may not be quite as perfect as they seem in the society, with all the rules. The main character, Jonas, is to be turning 12, which in this society means that he's going to be becoming an adult, and he's going to be receiving his job assignment for the rest of his life. At this ceremony, the society, they stop keeping track of age, and you are assigned your job. However, Jonas is special, and we find out that he's going to be chosen to be the receiver of memories. And with this position comes great power and great responsibility. And we will find that perfect may not always mean the same thing to all, and this society may in fact be dystopian, which is where everything is not great. Alright, I'd like now to do a reading from the book for you so you can really capture what the writing is like in here. So, Jonas, she said, speaking not to him alone, but to the entire community of which he was a part of. You will be trained to be our next receiver of memory. We thank you for your childhood. Then she turned and left the stage, left him there alone, standing and facing the crowd, which he began spontaneously, the collective murmur of his name. Jonas. It was a whisper at first, hushed, barely audible. Jonas, Jonas. Then louder, faster. Jonas, Jonas, Jonas. With the chant, Jonas knew the community was accepting him and his new role, giving him life. The way they had given it to the new child, Caleb. His heart swelled with gratitude and pride. But at the same time, he was filled with fear. He did not know what his selection meant. He did not know what he was to become, or what would become of him. I hope that reading got you interested and intrigued. Might make you want to pick up the book. And I'm going to leave you with this. Does the world where everything in your life that is chosen for you sound perfect? Or do you want everything to be the same around you and to maintain harmony? Would you like to have the freedom of choice? And if not, if you did not have that freedom of choice, would you do something about it? So that's something that I was never going to amount to much anyway, but now, statistically speaking, there's a better chance that some part of me will go on to greatness somewhere in the world. I'd rather be partly great than entirely useless. This is just a short snippet from Neal Shusterman's novel, Unwind. In Unwind, we find ourselves in a society that has just ended a long and bloody war. The Second Civil War, to be exact. The war was fought over one issue, and that issue was abortion. To end the bloodshed, and to please both sides, the pro-lifers and the pro-choicers, the Bill of Life was passed. And in this bill, it stated, human life may not be touched until a child reaches the age of 13. However, between ages 13 to 18, a parent can choose to have the child aborted. But in this book, we call that being unwound. When an unwanted teen is unwound, the parents give them up and their body parts are extracted to be given to others in need, much like an unwilling or forced donor. However, if you make it to 18 when you've been chosen to be unwound or given up to be unwound, you are free to live your life out unharmed. But when there's a world in need of body parts and you're constantly on the donor list, life seems very hard to hold on to. This story follows three teens being unwound who are band together and deal with the hardships of their circumstance together. These characters, Connor, Risa, and Lev, are all brought to be unwound for different reasons. Connor, who was given away because he was a troublemaker and got into several fights. Risa was brought because she had no parents, and the orphanage gave her up to save on cost because they didn't want to spend any more money to have her there. And then Lev, who was being unwound because it was a part of his strict religion, and he had always been planned to be unwound from birth. So in this, we will see how these characters cope and interact with the dismal dystopian society where death seems to be definite and looming. Now I'm going to go ahead and read an excerpt for you from the book Unwind. I want you to listen and see if it's something that would interest you. And pay attention to the way that it's written, okay? Leave it here, she says. It will be safe. If I die before you come back, Hannah's promised to take care of the trunk. Connor thinks of all the kids Sonia must have helped to have this many letters in her trunk, and he feels another wave of emotion taking hold of his gut. It doesn't quite bring him to tears, but it makes him feel all soft inside. Soft enough to say, "You've done something wonderful here." Sonia waves her hand, swatting the thought away. "You think this makes me a saint? Let me tell you, I've had a considerably long life, and I've done some pretty awful things, too." "Well, I don't care. No matter how many times you smack me with that cane, I think you're decent." "Maybe, maybe not. One thing you learn when you've lived as long as I have, people aren't all good, and people aren't all bad. We move in and out of darkness and light all of our lives. Right now, I'm pleased to be in the light." So, that was an excerpt from Unwind, as you can see right here. Whoa. And this book will get you thinking. It'll raise many questions about life and death for you. You'll find yourself asking questions about life, such as, where does life begin and where does life end? Also, do you continue to live if, like when you are unwound, all your body parts are still being used, but you're no longer together as a whole? For instance, if your heart is still beating in someone else's chest, or if your lungs are still breathing for another, are you still alive?